Kadosh, we're continuing Masechet Yoma Daf Ayin He Amud Aleph, so 75.8.1. Okay? It says over here like this: De'aga belev ish yesichena, yashchena. What does that mean, De'aga belev ish yashchena? Which means that when a person has da'agot, yashpilet de'aga downwards. You should push it downwards. Rabbi Yami Ravasi, Chadamar, one of them says yesichena, which means that he's going to be speaking, yesichena midato, right? Which means that he should try to have hesech hadat. The Chadamar, and one of them said yesichena la'acherim, he should speak to other people about it, which means a person has a problem, speak to other people about it, and hopefully that will get rid of it. Okay? But now it says in the pasuk, "V'nachash afar lachmo." What does it mean in the pasuk, "V'nachash afar lachmo"? So it says, "Rabbi Yami v'Rabbi Yasi." One of them says, "Afilu ochal kol mananei olam." Even if the snake is going to taste all the beautiful, the good foods in the world, to em bahem ta'am afar. He's only going to taste afar. V'chad and one of them says, one of them says, even if he's going to eat all the best things in the world, he's never going to be happy. That means the snake will only benefit from the afar. He's not going to benefit from anything else. Tanya, we learned in the Braita, Amar Rabbi Yosef says of Yosef, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not like a human being. Midat basav adam, a human being, maknit et chavero. The second if you start up with someone, Yored imo lechayav. He's going to mamash go down into his life. He's going to make his life miserable. Aval HaKadosh Baruch Hu eno ken, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not like that. Kilel et hanachash, when he cursed the nachash, what did he do? Olel agag mizonotav imo. What happened? If you're going to get into a fight with someone, what are you going to do? You're going to make their life miserable. What did he do? The exact opposite. The exact opposite. What's the exact opposite? Olel agag, the snake is going to go to the roof. Mizonotav imo. He has his parnasa. Yored lamata, he goes down. Mizonotav imo. He has his parnasa. Kilel et Canaan, he went and he cursed Canaan. Ochel masherabo, ochel. He cursed the slaves, but now he became a slave. What's going to happen? He always has parnasa. The slave eats from his master, drinks from his master. Kilel et isha, he cursed the woman. Hakol ratzin achreya, everyone's running after women. Yeah? That means you see from here that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the curse that he's doing is the exact opposite of what we're doing. Usually a curse is to make your life more miserable, to make it worse. Here HaKadosh Baruch Hu made it even better. You understand? So that's why he says, Kilel et adama, hakol nizor mimena. Right? He curses the adama, and everyone is being supported by the adama. We remember the fish which we ate in Mitzrayim free. Rav and Shmuel, one of them says dagim, and one of them says dagim mamash, and one of them says the arayot, because daga is a nice word for tashmish amita. So therefore it's like pirya v'rivya v'gularov. You're going to procreate. Mandamar, according to Mandamar that says the fish, dagim, because it's written nochal. According to the Mandamar that says arayot is because it's written chinam, which means that for sure the Mitzrayim were not giving free fish to the Jews. So obviously it meant, right, there had to be the arayot, which is chinam, because it's common to them. But according to the Mandamar that says it's arayot, immoral relations, haktiv nochal. So no, Nisha Ma'aliyah was a nicer lashon. Just like a woman that she's committing adultery, she comes and she says, right, that she ate and she's having her mouthful, but then she says she didn't do anything. Because remember, achila, eating, is for relations. So he says, Umandama dagim, and according to Mandama that says dagim, what does it mean? The fish, that it's going to be for free. To have a mighty lehume efkera, they used to bring it from the efker. Tamar more says, Keshayu, he says, Shavi Mayim, when Bnei Yisrael used to draw up the water, HaKadosh Baruch Hu mazmin lem mayim betoch dagim ktanim. They used to come, they used to pick water. They used to get water. All of a sudden they used to look and there used to be little fish all around. So that's why they used to eat it for free, all these fish. So Bishlam Mandamar dagim, that's why it's good dagim, but arayot lo pritzavu. What's it? I thought that they were never prutzim barayot, meaning that in Egypt, the Jews were not promiscuous. They weren't with immorality. Right? There was only one story in the entire thing, and it wasn't even that she wanted to do it and this and that. So what's going on? So he says, that the springs were closed. So he says, he says they were from the things which are prohibited for them, they weren't prutzim. So therefore, which is rayot, which is even for Bnei Noach, which means that they were very careful in not doing anything which was arayot. Arayot is immorality. Not with an aleph, with an ayin. Yeah, ayin. Ayin is immorality. Aleph is an arayot, is lions.
What?
A lion.
A lion.
An aryeh. Arayot, right? Is lions. Right? They're both the same thing.
So
Yeah.
Arayot or
Arayot,
Arayot.
Yeah, exactly. So exactly. So Bishlam al Mandamar, it's good according to the Mandamar, Arayot with an ayin, immorality. He saw that they were all crying for their families. That they became prohibited to sleep with different family members. But according to the Mandamar, the fish, says no, for sure it was both. Right? Which means the Chanut the Ga was also in both. Okay? Then it says, what else did they forget? They started remembering. They started remembering the fish, the cucumbers, right, and the vatichim, the garlic, all these things. Ravami and Ravasi, one of them says, "Tam kol haminin ta'amu b'man." Do you know that in the man they had all the tastes? You ate the man.
Yeah,
what
whatever
do
you wanted to eat.
You wanted ice cream, you have ice cream. You want steak, you have steak. You want it, you have everything. Yeah. He says, however, though. Tam chameshet minin alalu lo ta'amu bo. You had everything except for these 5.
Which one?
These 5. The kishuim, avatichim, chatzir, betzalim, and shumim. So it says here, why lo ta'amu bo? It says, shelo hayu tamim elu b'man mipnei shehem mazikim lenashim ubarot o menikot. It's not good for women that are pregnant or feeding. So that's these things. That's why it doesn't have spices. Yeah, these are all different things. Yeah?
What? Leek, onion,
Leek, water,
onions, garlic,
melon, leeks, onion.
Okay.
Garlic.
It's not good for women who are breastfeeding?
Okay.
באותה תקופה היו 6 בקרץ.
Next. ואחד אמר, טעם כל המינים טעמו טעמן וממשן, והללו טעמם ולא ממשן. There's another opinion that says no. טעם כל המינים טעמו טעמן וממשן. When you were going to eat the man, you actually felt not only the taste, the texture. The texture was the same. These 5 things, they only tasted the taste and not the texture. Meaning, right, when you come and you're going to eat, let's say, ice cream. So there's 2 things. You could have the taste of ice cream, and then you could have the texture of the ice cream. So therefore he says, according to the second mandamad, on everything, on all the tam kolaminin tamu, on everything else, they actually tasted. You wanted to you tasted the man, and not only did you taste steak, you actually were chewing it. The mamash like that, like mamash, it's a real steak. You feel it. Here, all of a sudden, with these five things, no. And that's why they complain about these 5 things. Kezera galavan. Then they said it's like a god, it's like a zera, it's like a seed. What is this? Amar Raviyasi says Ravasi, agol kigida. It's like a zera god, and it's lavan kemargalit, like a margalit. Right? Tanu Rabbanan, we also learned to the Braita. Gad shedome lezera pisham migivulim. Acherim omrim, other people say gad shedome laagada, that it's compared to the agada, divrei agada shemoshech libo shel adam kamayim, that it's going to draw a person's right heart just like water. Tanya Yidach, we also learned to the Braita. Gad shemagid lahem liYisrael, that they were going to tell to Israel, Iben Tisha Rishon, Iben Shiva Lacharon. Basically, that it was such an incredible thing that it would tell Bnei Israel whether it was 9 months from the first husband, sorry, thank you, or 7 months from the second husband. What does that mean? A woman, let's say she either got widowed or divorced. She has to wait 3 months for Havchana, 3 months to make sure from which husband does it come from. Let's say she wouldn't have waited. She got married right away. So now we have a doubt. She became pregnant right away. We don't know. Was it 9 months from the first husband or 7 months from the second husband? Since we don't know which one it is, we have a problem. So because of that, halakha is you're not allowed to. But this God, this man would tell you exactly what it was. Why? Because it depends. Where did it go? Which family did it go to? So according to that, you knew exactly, was it from the first husband or which portion? Because the portions would come in directly to your door. So you knew that all of a sudden if it's not coming to what's it? Something wrong. So it's not for me. So another one. So they would, that's what it says here. And she had a baby within the 7 months after the second marriage. We don't know whether it's the first husband 9 months or the second husband for 7 months, right? So he says over here the safek was done through the man. They checked the mana, this food, And when they were picking up the food, they would know exactly how much it is because it was an omer for every single family member. So therefore, it comes out, right, that if it was from the first husband, so then the man was found by the first husband. If it was from the second husband, it would be the second husband. So that's how they used to know. Lavan shemalbim avonotem shel Yisrael. Another one was it used to, right, whiten the sins of Israel. Why? We gave a shiur on this on Parashat. I think it was Ba'alotecha actually. Why did they hate the man so much? Imagine right now, every single morning you're a tzaddik. So Yonatan wakes up his door every single morning, and where's the man? Right in front of his doorstep. Yeah. Well, let's say also we every single one of us, we open up the door, we find it by the doorstep. All of a sudden, what happens is that we did an avirah during the night. Yeah, we did an avirah. The next morning, what happens? You open up the door, and there's nothing there. Where do you have to go? You have to go over there to go look for it. So people are going to come, they're going to say, what happened to you? What did you do yesterday? So the first day, what happens? You open up the door, you see that it's not there, you close the door. The children ask, what happened, Papa? Where's the breakfast? No, we're going to do ta'anit today. Ta'anit, we don't eat. Ta'anit. Today we don't eat. Ta'anit. Okay, fine. What does he do? He does shuvah. Yeah, the next day he opens up the door. Where's the food? Again, back on his table. Again, right by the door. But what happens if a person didn't do teshuvah? He opens up the door again. They're going to come, what did you do last night? What's going on over here? No, he would get it, but he had to go far away. And everyone would find out, why did he have to go so far? You understand? He was malbim avonotehem shel Yisrael. He used to make them all white. Why? People were afraid of doing averot. People were afraid of doing averot. You understand? So that's it. It changed. Fine. So now it says, Tanya, we learned to the right that Rabbi Yosef says, just like the Navi used to tell things to people which were very hidden, like in the Chorin Sakin, the cracks and crevices, so to the man. Why? Right? Imagine right now, two people came in front of Moshe Rabbeinu. They come to be judged. Each one, he says, no, you have my slave. I have your slave. You sold it to me. So now we have an argument. Whose slave is it? Is it mine or you? I sold it to you. So Moshe says, Moshe Rabbeinu, don't worry about it. Laboker mishpat. Let's see what happens tomorrow morning. Lemachar, the next morning, Moshe Rabbeinu used to do the test. If the Omer was found by the first house, so then it was him, and then the other guy stole it. If it was found in the second house, he sold it to him. Also the same thing, a man and a woman. They came in front of Moshe Rabbeinu. No, each one says, the other one cheated on me. So what happened? So he said, but I didn't change. I didn't do anything. Moshe says Moshe Rabbeinu, the book Misha. Let's see what happens tomorrow morning. Yeah. If it's going to be found in the husband's house, so then it's going to be known that she actually went against him. However, though, but if it was in the father's house, it's known that he was the one that cheated on her, not her on him. So that's how they used to find out as well. So even we used to find out where was each one came to Bedim, to Moshe Rabbeinu, and said the other one was not cheated on the husband. So either she cheated on the husband or the husband cheated on her. So they both come to Moshe Rabbeinu. It's the other one's fault. So Moshe Rabbeinu says, let's see tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, if the food went to the husband's house, so then what happened? So it comes out that he's allowed to divorce her without a ketuvah, but she was the one that did it. But if it was by her father's house, so then it comes out that he was the one that did it, and therefore he has to give her the ketubah. Yes. Yeah? Fine. So now it says, Ketiv, it's written, so when the tal used to come down in the machane in the nighttime, the man used to fall on it. Remember, the tal was a dew, and then it used to come. That's why you used to have the dew on the bottom, dew on the top, and the man in the middle was like a pastel. That's why the Moroccan minhag is to have pastel. What is pastel?
Yeah, to make
Shepherd's pie. Shepherd's pie, you have potato, meat, potato. And then on the top, you come and you take the fork and you do like that. That's zechalaman. That's to remember the man. Shepherd's pie. Yeah? Shepherd's pie. Pastel. Yeah, that's what it is.
No. You put it like...
No, but it's good also to know about the bread. The bread on your table, every Shabbat, you have the tablecloth, the bread, and another, how do you call it? Challah cover. The challah cover is zechel aman. Because the bread is like the man, and the top and the bottom.
You don't put on the table.
And that's why there's a whole question, do you have to cover the bread for Birkat Hamazon? And part of the questions that they start asking is it if you're going to say Zechelaman, no Zechelaman, it's a whole.
So how does the challah thing work again? You put the challah.
No, but the challah is on top of the tablecloth. So tablecloth, challah, and another challah cover. Yeah, or a piece of wood or anything, but there always has to be something underneath the challah.
Sometimes you put the plate, you put like
That's why there's a machloket.
paper napkin.
You have to cover the bread.
And then you put the other napkin.
Depends on the reasoning.
You
Why
never
do
knew?
Okay.
Always.
It's a good talk.
Okay, very good. כתיב אצוותן וברד תטל על מחנה לילה ירד המן עליו, וכתיב אצוותן ויצאם ולהקטו, they used to go out, וכתיב שתואם ולהקטו. How was it? צדיקים ירד על פתח בתיהם, so we just mentioned before. The tzadikim used to be on the doorsteps. So imagine, you open up the door, it's right there by the door. Benonim, they used to go out a little bit. The Reshaim, they had to go out and look for it. They had to go far. Shatu v'laketu, they used to go very far. Yeah? Ketiv, Eldad and Medad were not the Reshaim. No, בכלל לא. כתיב אצוותן לחם מן השמיים. They were the ones that they were the humble ones that they took out, and that's why they weren't. No, that's the Tam Avina. Eldad and Medad were half brothers of Moshe Rabbeinu. They were the ones that took out. Lechem, it's written lechem, uchtiv ugot, and it's written ugot. So what is it? Uchtiv etachanu. So they need to grind them. Hakeitzad. Tzadikim used to be bread. Benonim used to be ugot. Right? Therefore, they had to actually come and they had to actually bake it. Reshaim, they had to grind it. Meaning, not only it came, whether it was ready-made or not. Meaning, did it come ready-made or did they have to start working it? So also depends. If they were tzadikim, it was ready-made. You put it in your mouth, you eat. If it was benonim, no, you have to bake it still. But it was already ready. The croissants were already there. You just take them on the freezer, and you put them in the bacon. But the reshaim, you have to start making it from scratch.
Yeah, but after a while,
Next year. What does that mean? Amar Rav Yehuda Marav says, Vitem Rabbi Chama Bar Chanina or Rabbi Chanina, Melamed Sheyarad Lahem Nisanim Maman Tachshitei Nashim. It comes out that they were tachshitim, beautiful adornments that came down from of women's jewelry that came down. Davar shenidoch b'meducha, something which is mamash, even besamim sheregilim nischok otam mamash. They used to grind them and everything. It used to come down. Ubishloba parud, right? I guess it was in order for them to give their wives, obviously. Right? So he was teaching us the derech eretz. Ubishloba parur. Amar Rabbi Chama melamed she'eralam nisel imaman tzike kedera. Used to come down. Tavlinim are being very good for the kedera also. That's what it means. Dvarim nechutzim, something which is good for the bishul. Vehem eviu elav od nedavar baboker baboker. My baboker. What does it mean baboker baboker? Amar Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani Amar Rabbi Yonatan. Says Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani Amar Rabbi Yonatan. Midavar she'yaran lahem baboker baboker. What does that mean? From something that came down every single morning. Also, these come beautiful pearls and stones. Where did the Nesim get that Neshon from? Where did the Nesim, the princes, where did they get all these jewelry and everything from? Right? They didn't get it from Diamond International. Where did they get it from? They got it from the man. The man brought it down. Yeah, they said, I should bring it down. That's it. So it says here, and that's what it says, Nesim v'ruach v'geshemayim. Yeah? And then it says the tam, right, was like l'shad hashem. What does it mean? Mashad zeh. What does this mean? L'shad. We're talking about now. This is the chest of the woman, right? Tinok toem bakama tamim. That means when a child is eating, right? I don't know if you've ever asked the baby, what does he taste when he's eating? He tastes everything, and he gets all the taste. Depends what she eats. Depends what that's what he eats. Yeah. What does that mean? Mama, she gets all the taste. She ate chocolate. He's eating chocolate. She ate the vanilla. He's eating vanilla. So it says, Afaman kozman sheisel ochlim oto. So to the man, every time that the yisel is eating it, motzim bo kamen mitamim. Ikadamri, there are some people say l'shad mamash. What is l'shad mamash? Mashet zeh mitapech lekama dvarim. Right, that it's mitgaleh livnei adam bekama tzurot shonot. So too, it's the man is going to be for different people for different things as well. Okay, fine. Now it says here, Vayomer Moshe, Betet Hashem lachem ba'erev basar le'echol, right, le'echol ve'lechem boker lisua. So HaKadosh Baruch Moshe Rabbeinu comes and he says, when Hashem is going to give you in the nighttime meat to eat and bread in the morning to be satiated, they asked the meat not properly. Why? They didn't need to have the meat. Right? They weren't the why. They had everything. So they could have left without the basar. Why are they eating basar now? So therefore, the fact that they asked for the meat and they didn't need the meat, it was given to them without properly. What does that mean? When there's no time to eat it, right? And to prepare for the Seudah. Ayin Hamud Bet. Yeah, 75b. Lechem sheshalu kaogen, but bread, you need. Bread is a basic staple. So since bread is a basic staple, they needed to ask for bread. So therefore, nitan lahem kalgun. So it was given to them in the morning when there's still time to prepare it and to eat it and to nikan lamda Torah derech eretz shelo yochal adam basar ela balayla. When do you eat meat? At nighttime, right? This is a proof to the Americans, not the Gemara. So he comes here, it says, when do we meet? Nighttime. Abaye says, hold your horses. Abaye says, if I have something to eat, I only have one meal. When should I eat it? Nighttime or daytime? Says Abaye, during the daytime. I should. Answers the Gemara, Ke'en yemama kamrinan. Bayom Shema, when we said during the daytime, it's not mamash daytime. Ke'en yom, which means don't eat it mamash in darkness, but rather when there's still a little bit of day, right? In order that you should see the food, because remember, if you don't see the food, you don't become satiated. You stay hungry, right? When a person can't eat, imagine we're gonna take another chamin, and we're gonna turn off the lights. You're not gonna enjoy it. You have to see it. You see the oil, and you see the. You have to see it.
This morning you said that.
Exactly. Yeah, the kishka. Amar Rav Acha bar Yaakov, says Rav Acha bar Yaakov, but you said the beginning, the Jews were like Tarnagolim, that they didn't have as much kavod to eat, so they were all eating all day, like the chickens. Every single 5 minutes they're eating something, they're snacking on something. Right? There's even until nowadays, there's a lot of people like that. They're just every 2 minutes they're eating something. They always have something in their mouths. You understand? It's a big problem also, by the way. Because remember, during tefillah, you're not allowed to say berachot. Right? Even a beracha, right now, if I put the candy in my mouth, right? And I already made shakol, and I'm going to bring my cholent, and I make a mezonot or adama, whatever it is, or whatever. Am I allowed to make a beracha? When you have something in your mouth, you're not allowed to. Yemale pi teilatecha. Yemale kol pi. Kol, your entire mouth has to be with the tilot of Hashem. The same thing when you're saying tefillah. If I'm saying tefillah and you're giving out candies, you're not allowed to say tefillah with candies in your mouth. Right? No candy, no nothing. Your entire mouth has to be praising Hakadosh Baruch Hu.
What's
Right?
in the case that say because?
So basically, Rav Acha bar Yaakov was saying that Bnei Yisrael, they were always stripping, they were always eating little tiny things, right? By the way, you should know, for diets, they tell you that. For diets, they tell you if you don't want to eat a lot, what do? You take gum or whatever, and you always have something in your mouth. So you're not going to put more things in your mouth. But you have gum, so you're not actually eating it. Yeah, you get sugar-free gum, and you're always just eating sugar-free gum. That's already enough that you're not going to eat afterwards. It makes you that you're not going to be hungry. Ad sheba Moshe v'kaveh lahem zman seudah. Until Moshe Rabbeinu came and he fixed them a time for the seudah. All right? So therefore, that's what Moshe Rabbeinu did. He fixed them a time. He told them, lunchtime, this time. Supper time, this time. That's it. Havasar odenu ben shinehem. The meat was still in between their teeth. Uchtiv, and it's written, ad chodesh yamim. What does it mean, ad chodesh yamim? It says here, haketza. Benoniim le'altar meitu. The Benoniim, they died immediately. The Reshaim mistarim ad chodeshim. I mean, here's the exact opposite of what we thought. We would think that the Reshaim are going to die right away, and the Benoniim, they're going to wait a little bit. Opposite. The Benoniim, they died right away in order not to suffer. The Reshaim, it took them time. So that way they actually went, and afterwards, right, it took them time until they died. Okay? Vayishtechu, what does it mean vayishtechu? Amar Reshakish, says Reshakish, Al tikre vayishtechu ela vayishchatu. Melamed she'inchavu something shel shechita, which means that the enemies of Israel, again, it's a euphemism for Israel, they were chayavim shechita to be. Why? Because they complained. You complain, shechita. Yeah, that's the way it is. You complain, shechita. It's very well known, right? Ask Baba Chaki. Anybody complains, he's got the knife in his thing. Complainers, that's it.
Yeah. Get the knife, him, he get the stick.
Yeah, exactly. I get the stick, he has the knife. Yeah, fine. Shatoach. What does it mean, shatoach? It says, Tana mishved v'shom en kolcha. What do you think? They purposely did it that the rabbis give makot of kippur. What do you think? Finally, they get back to what they really need to do the entire year. Right. Yeah? So it says, shatoach. Tana mishved v'shom en kolcha. Al tikre shatoach ela shachot. Don't really read it. Shatoach ela shachot. To do shechita. Okay, what does this mean now? Which means you're just switching the letters. Something that came down that needed shechita. What was that? Basar. So it comes out because of basar, you're not allowed to eat it without shechita, even birds. You need to do shechita to the birds. Amar Rebbe says, what, from here you learn that the slav was something that needed shechita? It was already written. It's already an off. V'tanya, we learned in another brayta. Rebbe says, "V'zavachta mi'verecha mitzvolecha sh'nat v'ticha." Melamed shenitzava Moshe ala veshev ala kaneh. He was told that you have to do shechita. How do you do the shechita? On the veshet and the kaneh, on the trachea and on the esophagus, on the food pipe and the windpipe. Arov echad, right, ba'of, v'arov shtayim b'behema. On the bird, it's enough one siman. So one of those, it's already enough, the majority of it. On the animal, you need the majority of both of them. So what does it come to teach you? Shatoach. What does it mean, mishtachim? That the slav was coming in front of them like shichot al gabe shichot. It was like one layer on top of another layer. It was layers and layers. It used to come layers and layers of food. Okay? Ketiv, it's written, right? Lechem, uchtiv shemen, and it's written shemen, uchtiv dvash, and it's written vash. So you got bread, oil, and honey. What's going on? Amar Rabbi Yosef Hanina, la ne'arim, for the young people, it was like lechem. La zekenim, for the elder people, it was like oil. Right? And it says the tinokot, for the youngsters, for the children, it was dvash, it was honey. Right? It was beautiful honey. What? Right, yes. No, this is the lechem min hashamayim. This is the, yes. Yeah. The man. Yes. Okay? Tinokot. Okay? Ketiv slav vekarinan silav. So it's written slav with a sin, but we read it with a samech, right? Which is a sin, not a shin. Amar Rav Chanina, tzadikim ochlim oto b'shalva. The tzadikim, they eat it in peace. Shalva is tranquility. Okay? Reshaim, they eat it, v'domelan kesilvim. But for them, it's like thorns. Right? Why? Because it's a thorn and not a meat. So that's why, that's the difference between them. Amar Rav Chanan Barava, says Rav Chanan Barava, Amar ba mine slav hen. There are 4 different types of slav. Ve'elu hen sichle, ve'kivle, upasim, and slav. Ma'ayed dekulu, the best of all of them is sichli. The worst of all of them is silav. Okay?
Outreach, while others identified as Fizin.
Okay.
It's the quail type
Quail.
family.
Okay. So now it says the slav. So it's like this is a small tzipor, a small bird that they put it inside of the tanur. And then what they do is it comes and it fills the entire tanur because of so much shuman. There was so much fat in this type of birds. It was very fatty. And then they come and they put it on top of 13 loaves of bread in order to eat it. The last one, they don't eat it because there's so much shuman and everything that it's not good. You have to eat it with other things. I mean, there's so much fat and everything that comes out of this meat. It's such fatty meat that they eat it with it, but then it comes the last one, they can't even eat it by itself. It's just too much fat. It absorbed so much fat, they can't eat it by itself. Which one? You're not allowed to eat fat. You're permitted to eat fat. Shuman, you're allowed to. Permitted fats. Chelev is prohibited fats. There's prohibited fats and permitted fats. Fats you're allowed to eat. There's no problem with eating fats. Yeah? Prohibited chelev. Shuman is permitted fats and chelev is prohibited fats. Depends where it is in the animal. Certain fats are chelev, which is prohibited, and certain fats are permitted. Right? We eat fat. You go to the store, you buy all types of meats. It has tons of fat. Right? Yeah? No, he's like Richard. We only have meat here. Yeah? Rav Yehuda mashkach be'edani. So he was found, right? He found the slav between the chaviyot, right? And he found the slav. Rav Chasta mishtachach le'be'tzive. He was found the slav in a machzan v'tzim, in wood, in his wood storage place. Okay, Rava, maiti le'arise kol yoma. Rava, his chatan and Tamid of Rav Chasta, he used to bring it every single day. His sharecropper would bring it every day. Yom echad lo haiti. One day he didn't bring it. Amar, he said, what happened? He says, Salik le'igra, he went up to the roof, and he heard it, he said, Shamati v'tirgaz bitzni. I heard that there happened an ason.
You know what?
An ason, a tragedy.
Yeah.
This is tomorrow's daf, by the way. Wow, okay. Right? I heard that there happened a tragedy. Amar Shemamina, where it comes out, Nach Navshed Rav Chasta. Rav Chasta passed away, that's why he didn't have the slav. That means the tragedy happened, that's why there was no slav. Uvdil Rabba Achil Talmida. And Bischut Rav was the Talmid was eating, which means that I didn't have the Zechut, right? Ela Bischut Rabbi, my rabbi, Rav Chasta. That means that's the only reason why I had the Zechut of eating the slav, because of my rabbi. It wasn't because of me. It was because of my rabbi. And since Rav Chasta passed away, so now that's it. He didn't have slav anymore. He didn't have any more of these birds that he was able to eat. Ketiv, it's written, Vatal Shichvat Atal. Okay, the Shichvat Atal, right? It went up. Uchtiv and it's written, when it went down. So what is it? It goes up or down? That's what I told you before Yonatan, there was tal on the top and tal on the bottom. So it's like it's inside a box. That's why we mentioned Chaim, the entire concept of the challah that we have on the bottom and the top and the middle. It's like a box. It's like inside of a box. Yeah? Fine. Then it says, right? Dak mechuspas. Amar Shaki says Shakish, davar shenimocha pisat yad. What does it mean, dak mechuspas? It was hard, but then it says it's mechuspas. So it says it's like the man was very, very soft. Rabbi Yochanan says, davar shenivla b'matayim, it used to be absorbed into your body. Right? What does that mean? Mechuspas, right? Which means that it used to be absorbed and nothing actually had to come out. Usually food, you come, you eat the food, the nutrients and everything good goes in the food, and everything bad, yeah, what goes in has to go out. Yeah? But however, it used to be absorbed inside of the body. Everything was absorbed. Okay, mechuspas duvave. So he says what? But mechuspas is much more than 248. The gematria of mechuspas is 254, not 248. But it's written without the vav. So since it's written without the vav, it's the exact same gematria of 248. So that's 248 limbs. There's 248. So dak mechuspas, it was so dark, it was so soft, it used to be absorbed in the body of the 248 limbs in the body. We're almost done. Tanu Rabbanan. Yeah, we learned in the Braita. Lechem abirim achalish. What does that mean, lechem abirim achalish? Lechem shemalachei asherech. This is the bread that the malachei asherech eat. Tivra Rabbi Kiva, these are the words of Rabbi Kiva. Shenemru devarim lifnei Rabbi Shmuel, when they said in front of Rabbi Shmuel, Amar lehem, he said, Tzu v'amru lo Rabbi Kiva, go tell Rabbi Kiva, Kiva, ta'ita, you made a mistake. Lechi malachei asherech, what? The malachei asherech eat bread? But look, it's written, lechem lo achaltem, I didn't eat bread and I didn't drink water. Elamani mekayem abirim, what does it mean abirim? Lechem shenivla b'matayim 48. No, it's bread which is absorbed inside of the body. Right? It's a refuah. Okay, so the same thing. Shabirim is evarim. Evarim is the limbs. Right? Elamani mekayem v'yetet teyah lezenecha. Right? Evarim shetagrei umot olam uchlin oto lahem. Things that they're selling, these things, right? They're selling all these types of different foods which are being absorbed inside. Right? That's what it means here. The same thing. That it means that that's why they have to go to the washroom. Rabbi Elazar ben Prata omer. Even what they would sell, the man would also make it absorb, which means the man would actually purify the entire body. That means even if they ate from other types of food, it would also be purified because of the man. What does it mean? Which means if once they started being mitlonanim, once they started complaining that they didn't want to go to the washroom, I said that you guys are going to be like malachim. But now that you don't want, now I'm going to make them, do you want to go to the washroom? No problem. You're going to have to start traveling 3 parcel to go to the washroom, right? In order to go outside, because you have to go outside of the machanot and everything. Why? I saw the place, so it was 3 parcel outside. Meaning now they had to actually go outside in order to travel. The time we learned, when they used to go to the washroom, they wouldn't be able to go to the washroom, not in front of them, not behind them, and not to the sides, right? In order that they shouldn't go back there. But rather, the other things, you're not allowed to go to the washroom, right? Because that's where the nation was, that's where the Aron was. So the mamash, they had to travel far outside, because before, imagine not having to go to the washroom. What beracha is? So huge beracha. Yeah, you save yourself a lot of time, no? Yeah? What? No, but Asher Yatzar is a refuah because now that you have to go, so you say Asher Yatzar. But imagine if I would ask you right now, you don't need to go to the washroom. You say, for sure, why not? So why would I want to go? You understand? That's what they have.
If you're an angel.
But no, but that's what he's saying, because the food was such a good food and we used to be absorbed and there was no problem. So he says, but that was their punishment. So now they have to actually go very far away. What, does it exist that a man could just take in and he doesn't let out? So they said this in front of Ishmael, he told them, Al tikre abirim ela evarim. דבר שנבלע ב-248 איברים, מה מקיים ויצאת על הזנך, בדברים שבאים להם ממדינת הים. Something which comes from מדינת הים. What does that mean? Here it says over here, like the Girsah that we said above, right? That he says over here, that's things that came from outside. Right? That the man was bemet, came inside, but he brought a proof from the lechem abirim. תברכי lechem abirim החליש, עין וו עמוד א', on the top זה יהושע. שיראה לו מן כנגד כל ישראל, that the man came down for Yeshua כנגד כל ישראל, because it's written over here, ish, and it's written over there, כך לך את Yeshua בן נון, ish אשר רוח בו. So therefore it's like a גזירה שווה, therefore he was like a כנגד all of Am Yisrael. And we continue with Hashem tomorrow.